Hi, 2nd grade friends. Good to see you all. I'm continuing reading our chapter book, The Magic Trap, which is part of the Lemonade Wars series. I know you guys love these books. So, all right, I'm going to continue on. This chapter is Rabbit Box. Remember how Evan is wanting to make a magic box? So let's see if he has any luck with that. Hey, Pete, how are you? I'm good. I've got a favor to ask. Do you have any scrap wood? I need to build a box to make a rabbit disappear. Can I send you a drawing? And then you can cut it and mail the pieces to me so I can put it back together? Thanks. Signed, Evan. Hey, big man, good to hear from you. I've been wondering how things are for you and your family. All good? Sure, I can cut the wood for you, but mailing it's going to cost a lot of money. Wood is heavy, dude. Do you have any scrap wood in your basement? Can you get someone to cut it for you there? There must be someone there who knows how to operate a saw. It's not brain surgery. At least, not if you're careful. Ha ha. I saw your grandma yesterday. It's great to have her back in the North Country for a little bit. Come visit, all of you. I could use your help. Stand tall, big man. Signed, Pete. Evan stared at the screen, wishing he could rewrite Pete's email. He wanted it to say, Hey, Evan, why don't I come down there and build a rabbit box with you? We'll do it together, just like we fixed your grandma's house after the fire. Evan looked at the drawings in Professor Hoffman's magic box, or modern magic. Wonder if that's the one he's going to try to build. It looked so simple. It was just 7 boards, 2 hinges, and a latch. How could that be that hard? Well, except for the cutting. Pete had taught him how to glue, nail, sand, and paint wood. Working with Pete was like going to carpentry school, but a lot more fun. Evan looked at the pictures again and then picked up the book and headed downstairs. Jessie and their father were on the porch in the backyard. Remember how their dad is back while their mom is on a trip for work to California? Evan wasn't too excited about it. Jessie was thrilled to have her dad back. Even though Memorial Day was just a week away and the weather was as warm as summer, the porch looked the way it did all winter, empty. The chairs and the table were still up in the attic, and Mrs. Tresky hadn't bought a single tomato, pepper, or basil plant. Usually by this time of year, the porch was overflowing with potted plants, lilies, marigolds, pansies, begonias. Every spring, Mrs. Tresky planted morning glories that could creep up and go over the splintered and broken railing, twining the vines through the wood. It hides the rotten parts, she would say. But this spring had just been too busy. Evan had never seen his mother work so hard. The porch looked as if it was stuck in winter. Jessie was walking the perimeter of the porch, that means the outside of the porch, tapping each corner of the railing as she passed. Their dad was checking his cell phone, squinting at a colored screen in the bright afternoon light. Evan pushed open the sliding screen door and walked outside. Hey, said his dad, looking up for an instant. This house is a dead zone. Jessie laughed and started to repeat the words. The house is a dead zone. The house is a dead zone. Evan scowled. Dad, do you know how to make things? He asked, like with wood. Wood? Yeah, sure. Well, no, not really. What are you talking about? The rabbit box, said Jessie, coming over to the stand next to Evan and look at the page of the book that he was holding. For his magic show. Jessie stopped for a split second. Then her face seemed to catch fire. And I've got an idea. We'll sell tickets. I bet we could make like $50, easy. That's big money. Enough to open my own bank account. We're not selling tickets, said Evan, suddenly embarrassed to even be talking about the show in front of his dad. Why not? Asked his dad. Aren't you good enough? Oh, he's great, shouted Jessie. But he needs a big finishing act, something like kapow, like a blockbuster. Where are you going to do it? Asked their dad. An auditorium? No, said Evan. I don't know. The basement, I guess? When he imagined the show in his head, he was like in a big auditorium on a real stage with hundreds of people watching. But he knew that could never be real. No way, said their dad, still looking at his cell phone. Basements are for losers. You need something big, impressive. You need a stage, curtains, lights, the whole thing. You need to look like a professional if you're going to charge money. We can build a stage, said Jessie, a real stage. Or maybe, said their dad. But I'm not a professional, interrupted Evan. So fake it. That's what half the people in the world are doing. Act like a pro. People will treat you like a pro. Next thing you know, hey, you're a pro. He folded his arms across his chest and leaned back casually against the railing. Evan could have predicted what would happen next. What do you think is going to happen next? Even Jessie shouted, "Dad, stop!" But it was too late. The rotten and splintered wood on the railing groaned and then gave way with a loud crack. Their dad just barely pulled himself upright before a chunk of the railing fell over the edge and onto the lawn, leaving a 4-foot wide gap. "Whoa!" shouted Mr. Tresky. "You broke it," said Jessie. "Well, better me than some kid, right? This whole porch is an accident waiting to happen. I can't believe your mother even lets you out here." "Oh, it's not that bad," said Evan. "At least it wasn't until you ruined it." He watched as his dad wiggled the remaining boards on the railing, testing each one as if it were a tooth that needed to be pulled. "Leave it alone," shouted Evan. "You're just making it worse. This has to come down. It seriously isn't safe. And besides," he swept one arm across his body as if he were introducing someone, "here's your stage." "What?" asked Evan. Jessie looked puzzled. "We'll take down the railing, which needs to come down anyway. Your mother's lucky she hasn't been sued yet. And then we'll set up chairs on the lawn and we'll rig up a curtain and that'll be pretty easy." Suddenly Evan could see it. It would be perfect. A real stage. Jessie was jumping up and down, hopping on one foot and then the other. "We'll do the show on Memorial Day. That'll give us a week to get ready. And I'll put it in the special edition of the 4-0 Forum with a front page story telling everyone to come. And I'll make tickets to sell." She ran to the kitchen door. "We're going to be rich," she shouted, and ran inside. "Man, she sure gets excited," said Evan's dad, shaking his head and smiling, as if he and Evan were sharing a private joke. "She's not always like this, you know," said Evan. But how would their dad know that? He hardly ever saw them, and when he did, Jessie was always wound up. "So what do you think?" asked his dad. Evan knew what he thought. He thought his mom would not want them taking the railing off the porch. She would not want Jessie getting all excited so she couldn't stand still. She would not want to come home to find 100 people in their backyard. But a stage, a real stage, and his dad was offering to help build it. They could do it together. Evan could feel his mother's disapproval, but he couldn't resist. He held out the open page of the book to his father. "Can you build this?" he asked. So I wonder how it's going to go with having the dad help build the stage. Will Evan and Jessie be ready? Will Jessie be the assistant? I don't know, a lot of questions. We'll find out. Bye.